naturalmente molta attenzione, ma non hai bisogno certo che te lo dica io. Senti, una cosa che volevo sapere da te, un'opinione o qualche informazione che hai raccolto. Poco fa Roberto ci ha dato l'informazione
Dearest TGV, I'm writing to you from my palatial estate in Isla Nublar, having a bit of a staycation following all the press junkets and promo events for the latest JP film starring yours truly.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, yes. Yes, it's moi, Hugo. Aren't I fabulous?
I do say that Jeff is a bit of an eccentric chap, to say the least. But he does have rather good taste in watches.
Taste it and enjoy. Okay, anyway, what were we talking about?
Speaking of watches, enclosed is your lovely little Cartier Santos. No bubble wrap? Right, mustache, I'm reading for a fantastic starring role in a reboot of Heat with Robert De Niro and Al. It's going to be positively splendid. As a thank you for so graciously loaning to me, I've included a fabulous gift, a little reminder of moi. Toodle pip, forever yours, Hugo Mountbatten. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to pick my 5 favorite new releases of 2022 so far. We'll do this again towards the end of the year because obviously there's going to be so many more releases. I might do that one with Mark. I'll see if he's up for it because I like hearing his favorites and then sharing mine and kind of discussing them. What are your favorites? Do add that in the comments. And most importantly, if you want to see more unsponsored, free content, independent like this, do click on that like button. It's the best way to support the channel. Typically, I don't do kind of reactions to watches I haven't, seen in the flesh. I know it's a big thing on YouTube to review watches that, especially to talk badly about watches you never experienced. It's a bit like being a restaurant critic and never eating the food, It's crazy, right? So why do it with watches? Anyway, I'm rambling already. My point is that I just want to share why I'm interested in them, why I want to investigate them, why I might even consider buying a few of these. I'm certainly deliberating on a few already, so I thought I'd share that with you. Anyway, quick wristwatch check, wearing the Santos, nothing much more to say about it. I did the unboxing, I looked into its long history, I shared that already, but I'm going to do a follow-up review because there's a lot to talk about this watch. The intricacies of this particular design in particular. Yeah, una meraviglia questo. Let's get into my first choice. Last year we saw the release of the G-Shock GBD200 series during the summer in 3 colors, and then finally hitting the shelves towards the end of the year. And at the very end of 2021 and the very beginning of 2022, a further selection of transparent options and one all crimson red version was made available. So yes, technically these did come out last year. So why are they so important now? Well, I have to backtrack a little bit to 2020, with one of my favorite watches of that year being the GBX 100 series, because it gave us a glimpse of where G-Shock is very much going for the future. A friend of mine actually purchased one of those watches, not for surfing as it was designed for, but as his workout watch, because aside from a tide indicator complication, it also has a built-in step counter. With the inherent toughness that all G-Shocks offer and these newest modules inside, designed to rival the functionality of a smartwatch, but at the same time maintaining the inherent toughness, shock resistance, and 200 meters water resistance, like that of a professional diver. It was only a matter of time before more mainstream, less specialist smart G-Shocks became available. I think the GBD200 is still extremely important for the year 2022. With the looks of the iconic and world-changing G-Shock Square, but slightly modernized in a bit of a retro sci-fi aesthetic, the GB200 can link to the GPS of your smartphone via Bluetooth, along with quick calibration of distance measured by utilizing the watch's accelerometer, and it also stores all your activity data. In addition to tracking distance and time, the GBD200 also includes auto lap features, a step tracker, interval timers, it even vibrates, which is especially useful if you're listening to music out on a jog, all of which provide plenty of support for your daily training needs. Now, in several videos, I stated that the smartwatch is the biggest threat to the traditional watch industry as we know it. So by G-Shock offering these practical, super tough, affordable alternatives to smartwatches for working out, for counting your steps and your progress when you're doing your cardio, is really important. At $150, it's a steal. Now my next pick, and before you roll your eyes, just hear me out. This is the Squale 1521, possibly the greatest 500 meter capable automatic dive watch ever made. Well, in my opinion at least. It's one that I've bought and sold more times than I care to admit. In fact, I was scheduled to review it, and I borrowed the standard Azzurro one with the high polish to record a kind of 5-year anniversary review of the watch. Yeah, it's crazy to think that much time has passed. So that watch undoubtedly has had a huge influence on me. A love affair that has not diminished in the least. I wanted to discuss its pioneering history, unique lovable design, and why Squale is one of the most important independent heritage Swiss brands when it comes to dive watches. But anyway, I digress. So, as I said, I was scheduled to re-review this watch, but then a few days ago the announcement was made that a new upgraded 1521 was hitting the market. This time with a fully loomed bezel, a more refined applied markers, and a high-grade, fully decorated COSC certified ETA. So now, as you can imagine, I'm totally confused which one to buy. Do I buy the classic non-COSC that encapsulates all those sentimental memories, or do I wait and see if a higher-end Azzurro 1521 will also be on the horizon? As of right now, it appears that the black is the only one available. This raises so many questions. Is the blue going to be available with the COSC certification and these upgrades? What's going to happen to the non-COSC? Are they going to be discontinued? What's going to happen if they are? Is the prices going to go up? And one thing I have noticed about Squale is that their prices generally have not risen. The whole rest of the industry have slowly been climbing their prices. With inflation, it's natural, and also the way the world is going. Is Squale going to do the same? Why haven't they done the same? Should they do the same? I mean, the 1521, the regular version, is still under $1,000. Maybe the best time to buy is now. I don't know. I'm conflicted. Do I wait for the COSC version, which is not that much more, or do I buy one that's possibly going to be discontinued? Yeah, you see my predicament here. But anyway, I'm enjoying it all the same. It's actually right there in the winder. I'm not sure if you could see that, but yeah. The next watch is a little off the beaten path, so to speak, and it's Rotary, which is a great affordable brand, and I have discussed them many times in the past. This Anglo-Swiss brand got its start supplying the British Armed Forces during the war, and more recently achieved a little bit more fame by having their Canterbury dress watch being worn by Benedict Cumberbatch in the modern BBC interpretation of Sherlock Holmes. This year they released some really interesting watches, mainly their Regent automatic collection, which is a tastefully done homage, but with a little bit of a unique twist, to the Patek Nautilus. And I don't know about you, but whenever I hear the word Regent, I automatically think of Hugh Laurie in Blackadder III.
I read fearful news in this morning's paper.
Oh no. Not another little cat caught up in a tree.
That wonderful and memorable depiction of upper class ignorance and stupidity, but in a very charming way, of course. So naturally, that release kind of stole the show and attention away from a stunning little Art Deco inspired limited edition dress watch. This classically modern 36mm elegant textured deco tuxedo dial, along with a super slim 7mm in thickness thanks to the minutes, hours and date only quartz, is everything really a dress watch should be. The lug design in particular is very well done, and I love the angles and curves. The lines very much make me think of the shapes you'd see in an Art Deco roadster of the 1930s. In fact, talking of Hugh Laurie, I could certainly see Bertie Wooster wearing this timepiece. There's something very aristocratic about modest, understated Art Deco minimalist dress watches, and the fact that it's only a smidgen over 200 bucks. I mean, nobody is as frugal as old money. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So it has sapphire glass. Yeah, some will scoff at the PVD gold coating, but you know what? If you don't wear a dress watch every day, does it really matter? I mean, at 200 bucks, who can argue with it? I think it's gorgeous. If I can, I will review one. Next on my list is Amiga. And they've done a lot this year so far. Is there more to come? I guess we have to stay tuned and find out. But firstly, there was the revamped Aquaterra collection, which is a clever nod to the pre-diver Speedmasters in terms of the layout of the dial design, which, as you guys know, I very much adore that era of Speedmaster, as I've created many videos on the subject, and of course it inspired my latest Speedmaster. Although that being said, the colour choices have obviously made a few fans draw comparisons to Nemesis Rolex, and particularly the Oyster Perpetuals, perhaps most humorously commented on by the Italian watch channels. Also, we can't really not mention Amiga stealing the crown back for deepest capable diver with their humongous ultra deep Amiga. This 6,000 meter capable saturation diver and beast of the ocean contains a lot of impressive new tech that make it possible. Even proprietary metals like the new Omega steel. And yes, I know what you're thinking, they really do want to be Rolex so bad. And you know what? It's not any of these that are my favorites, it's actually a Speedy. Now, I was all set to love the new 38mm Speedmaster Canopus Gold with the stunning column wheel 321 movement you can actually enjoy via the see-through caseback. Classic in size and with a subtle yet sumptuously modernized dial, it's utter perfection to behold. For me, it's the ultimate Speedy in terms of looks and movement, and updated just enough but not too much so it doesn't lose any of its important character and identity. There's no superfluous cartoon characters, for example. But then, the price. $81,000. So why is it so ruddy expensive? Well, the Canopus 18-karat gold is made of Amiga's very own version of white gold, in fact. Again, trying to be Rolex with their proprietary metals. And in some kind of way goes more into the Daytona racing direction rather than an actual moon-going icon. But anyway, I digress again. So they make the ultimate Speedy, but then they make it only available for the uber elite Speedy collectors with deeper pockets than sense. Hey, I totally get it. I guess there's a demand, right? But for me, it's pushing it way too far. You could almost say it's taking the mickey. I guess what they're trying to do with that super expensive Speedmaster is go more discreet luxury, because obviously it looks like stainless steel, right? I mean, you really have to know what it is to know that it's ridiculously expensive. But the one I really do like is the Moonshine Gold. They came out with two versions, one in a panda dial, which is just stunning. There's no denying what that is. I mean, we're entering kind of Daytona territory, unashamedly luxury. I love it. And that green, that juniper green with the sunburst finish on the dial, just stunning. And the first green dial I would really consider. Obviously, if I had DuckTales money, yeah, it would be on my wrist right now. Well, actually, all of these watches will be on my wrist. Well, not at the same time, but you know what I mean. Yeah, there's something very regal and alluring about that green mixed with the yellow gold. And at the end of the day, if you're going to be blasted off into space, sitting on, you know, all that liquid nitrogen is it nitrogen? No, liquid hydrogen, sorry. You know, highly flammable. I want to wear something a little bit more pizzazz, you know. If you're going to possibly go out in style, you know, why not a classic full gold Speedy nonetheless? Let me know what you guys think. Are they beating a dead horse there? Is it wrong to go luxury like this, or should they just embrace it and admit what they are now, which is a luxury watch? I mean, who actually buys Speedmasters for space anymore? You know, you get a Fortis or you get a G-Shock, you know. Anyway, last but by no means least is the reissues of the classic Porsche Design chronographs from 1972 to celebrate the 50th anniversary with 2 limited editions, which, as you guys know from my recent purchase of the Dan Henry Homage, aka the Dan Henry Maverick, the original was a watch worn by Tom Cruise in the Tony Scott directed classic movie Top Gun. The original back in the 70s was designed by Ferdinand Alexander Porsche, grandson of Porsche founder Ferdinand Porsche, of course. They first partnered with Orfina, a Swiss watch manufacturer, to come up with the first blacked out sports watch utilizing PVD finish. Today it's some kind of special coating. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I suspect it's something a little bit more like the robust military Cerakoting used on guns, but I am only guessing here. It was very influential, an early example of car design permeating into the domain of watches, 20 years before Giugiaro and his speed timers, of course, and way ahead of its time. While we do not have the legendary Lamagna 500 caliber like in my vintage Fortis, this time they have updated the watch significantly with a new in-house work 01140, which is equally decorated in a sporty blacked out sleek look. Despite in appearance from the outside being almost indistinguishable from the originals, this time around the base material is titanium for superior ergonomics and of course wearability. As I eagerly await the Top Gun sequel this year, I'm now wondering, is this the watch that Tom Cruise will be wearing that we saw a brief glimpse of during the trailer? Can't wait to find out, and despite the film being delayed, the fact it coincides with the anniversary this year, it's rather fortuitous timing. So let's talk price of the Porsche here. It's priced at the moment closer to 10 than it is to 5, I can certainly tell you that. And will probably explode because this is a limited amount. Compared to my little Dan Henry, which I've been banging on about a lot recently, and that watch has really scratched that itch. And obviously it's inspired by the Orfina, but I like the little twist Dan did with that sandwich dial. And you know, I don't particularly want to spend that kind of money on a Porsche Design. I love them, I think they're great, and I think the history and importance of their design legacy is very, very important, but there's about 1,000 more watches I'd rather spend that money on. Yeah, I just got written here, damn sexy, damn cool. When I'm feeling the need for speed, there you go, there you go. So let's talk a little bit about Seiko. I haven't picked a Seiko for my top 5 yet. I want to keep it open. I think we've still got a lot to see in the works from Seiko before the end of the year. I love the King Seiko, and I kind of knew it was coming, predicted it slightly last year with the review of the limited edition. Typical Seiko strategy with the 1-2 punch. They have the limited edition first, and then a little bit later they come out with a lesser, you know, lesser tarded up. I keep saying tarded up to the 9s. Is that politically correct? I don't know. That has been my favorite so far, but I'm waiting to see what else they do. It's still early days yet. As for Rolex, well, the time of recording this, it could all change tomorrow morning. They could make a surprise announcement, who knows? There's a lot of predictions about Rolex, and to be honest, it kind of bores me. It's difficult. I love Seiko, that was a Freudian slip. I love Rolex, right? I have many of them. I don't care if there's a new blue dial here, green dial there. Couldn't give a flying monkeys, to be honest. But I will say this, my eyes are more on Tudor. If I could have any watch brought back and re-released, it would be something based on the original Tudor 34mm Ranger reference 7995 from the early 1960s. It was introduced to the market just before Tudor was about to change its logo from the British Tudor Royal Rose to the heraldic shield we know today, which was completed across the brand in 1969, the same year, incidentally, as we saw the introduction of the snowflake hats. The Ranger, as the imagery conjures up and inspires in our mind, was Tudor's budget alternative to the Explorer 1016 of the time from the bigger brother brand Rolex. The premise behind the design was exactly the same: a highly legible dial with large exaggerated Arabic numerals, no date, a simple smooth bezel, with the overall minimalism of a classic field watch. Despite running until 1988, it was a very poor seller, and so was also the case with the 2014 modernized update in the larger 41mm size. The line was then permanently discontinued with the success of the Black Bay 58 and its smaller bezel-less 36mm versions in 2020. It's a real shame, as it had its own unique arrow handset that is just as distinctly Tudor as the more iconic and divisive snow hands that actually came later. Those arrow hands also found themselves permeating into the oyster prince dates and date days, but never really caught on. Today, the Ranger, especially the vintage ones, are ironically highly lusted after by collectors. The infamous Red Ranger is one of the most faked and desired of them all. I did a video all about it, concluding that it never actually really existed in the first place. The main problem with the Ranger, either be it new or old, was that it was never taken on any historic expeditions up Everest like the progenitors of the Explorer, nor did it grace the wrist of Ian Fleming like his 1016, or appear on Mad Men like the newer models. And unlike the Tudor Submariners, it was never issued to any elite military organizations around the world, so it very much lacked any kind of allure or sex appeal. What I'd love to see is a modern 36mm update with a simple, clean matte black Ranger dial, arrow handset, new in-house movement, completed with an expanding oyster bracelet. To give it some extra historic significance, use some of that access to that vast Rolex marketing budget to sponsor a world record-breaking expedition of some kind, maybe a humanitarian aid mission, or blast it into space on the wrist of a celebrity that is actually fitting with the Tudor brand's audience. Maybe you could even call it the Space Ranger, perhaps even the next Bond movie, anything just to make it cool and worth talking about again. Am I the only one that's not really interested in what Rolex are doing? You know, it's very incremental. I highly doubt they're going to invent or come out with some new timepiece. Having said that, I wouldn't mind a smaller Sky Dweller. I think that technology with the ring command or whatever they call it, it's these kind of supercilious names. I love that technology, really cool. I reviewed one way back in the day, but too big, you know, to house that new tech. If they did a 36 of that, ooh, I might sell my day to get it. I don't know. What do you guys want to see? Please do share in the comments. What are your top 5 favorite new releases of the year so far? Share that down below. I'd love to hear that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.